good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. And right off the top, let me tell you, this is a show for entertainment's sake. Believe a word I say. Nothing is real. It's all fake news. And that's, quote, Rudy the J. I think. I don't know. Because I don't know anything. Do you? And if you're going to contact me here on a live chat, remember to use all capitals because I'm down to these glasses, right? And so as of last week, everything has been just a little bit, just like these glasses, just a little out of kilter. Hey, Fish, good morning, my brother, sister, whatever species or phyla you are. Have you noticed how the things are just a little bit out of kilter? And it has been done on purpose. Now, don't believe a word I say. From here on in, this is a story. Hi, boys and girls of age specific above 18. And I say boys and girls because we are so sensitive. That snowflake, and I've been having these snow showers. They're the most deadly. If it snows 3 or 4 inches, my vehicle does very nicely through that kind of snow. But when you live in a place where it's between 30 and 0 every day, and you have a snow shower, what happens is it's a kind of rainy, snowy stuff instantly turns to black ice. And as of Monday, this last Monday, today being Wednesday, so 2 days ago, everybody, I kind of felt in the auras, everyone was, and one was my sister who was screaming at me through, her anxiety level. And I thought something really bad happened. But the thing that happened was I hadn't talked to her because it snowed so much and I have to drive 40 miles to make a phone call and my phone is going out. And I can't get it fixed until I drive 300 miles to the closest provider nearby me. Nobody will touch it, right? So, a little bit is an understanding. So, in every way, I mean, and, in my neighborhood, so I tell people, hey, I can't really always, I don't get a cell signal where I am, period. I have to drive 40 miles to make a phone call. And that means I need to drive 40 miles. Well, do you get messaging? Well, I have to drive 40 miles to message. And it doesn't always work. I just tried to message a few people and because I have a few bars, but my phone is going wacko. And so the solid way is to get a hold of me at Gmail. The dude awake 42 at Gmail. And if you want to, throw something in the PayPal. And now this really does work because a number of people have been doing that. And I thank you very, very much. I would mention your names, but who knows what morons are I mean, the cadre is the cadre, but there are a lot more people who watch this thing who are morons than the cadre. I only have 340, and it kind of goes between 344 and 488. And it just, day to day, it bounces back and forth. Just like when I do a show, when I end the show, it gives me the analytics, and it shows that, somewhere between 30 and 7 people have watched. And I have a bunch, come on, guys, give me some thumbs up. And I will have, 5 or 6 thumbs up when I end the show. And then the next day when I go and look at the show, once it's put up on my channel, it says that 12 people have watched. I've had 12 views and there are 8 thumbs down. It's like, really? And as a number of folks have told me, I must be doing something right. So what I'm seeing is I do not tell the future. I am not psychic. I am intuitive, so I could feel people's feelings. And so I drove that 40 miles on Monday. It said on my phone that it was going to be sunny. Well, once I got out by 10 miles, it started to snow because I'm in a place where there's 6 different weather patterns coming together. And normally over me, it's always sunny. So it said where I was, it was going to be sunny. But once I drove the 40 miles into Boone, it was snowing, and it was up and down Sawtooth Mountains. And so when I finally did get a hold of the people who were all upset, they couldn't understand why I didn't get a hold of them. Didn't you get my message? No. How many times do I tell you I have no cell signal? And even if I had, $20, so no one, I'm always the empathetic, sensitive, understanding one, and everyone else is like off the hook. It's like, really? So I can't tell you the future. I can tell you a story. And when Donnie came down the elevator, first off, the girls before Donnie even came down the elevator were saying that Donald Trump would be running for president, and it would be the end of what we think of democracy, because we don't have one. We are a republic. What does a republic mean, kids? Come on, let's hear it. It means, come on, do you know? White rich men rule. The golden rule. Who has the gold rules, right? So what I'm seeing that's going to happen, and it's just my perceptions, just my insights, just my perspective, and my analytical experience over the last 60 years. So pretty much our whole internet has been hacked, right, by outside entity. I mean, the NSA hacks, started the internet and did it on purpose so it could watch everybody, and that was a great idea from the Nazis, because the IBM kids gave the Nazis computers to watch their own people, keep a database on them. So we have been, kept in a database since the 1890s. So anyway, so I think in the next, while the pandemic gets worse and worse and worse, and oh my God, there's 1,000 people dying a second in America. The more that happens, and hey, if when it comes my turn for the jab, I'll take it. Who cares? I'm 70-some years old, so I'm good. And it's all about intent. And that's what today's show is about, intent. Because no matter how screwed up things seem to be, if your intent, like my phone just would not work, just, right? And these are the only pair of glasses I could find, right? Even though I've purchased at the dollar store, in the last 2 weeks, maybe $50 worth of glasses. I'll always have a pair of glasses. And that's my next stop, the Dollar Tree. So it's your intent that counts, So let us say a big breath in, breath out. Big breath in, breath out, and relax. And our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without amen. And Father, hear our prayer. Bless us indeed. Enlarge our territory. Put your hands upon our shoulders and keep us from evil, so we will do no harm. And when you're in a state of co-creation with love, right? And that's Father Sky, that's the prana energy, Mother Earth, the grounding in the chi, and Holy Spirit. that which burns in our heart, and that is what Jesus Christ was. And Jesus Christ came to prove to us, show us physically that with the right intent, you can be like him, right? So, because we were made in the image and likeness of our Creator, love's co-creation, right? But we have, been distracted from that by all of this material block, which is an illusion, right? So all the facts that it snows and I nearly died trying to get there just to call my sister to calm her down, and what does she do? She calls the police, to check up on me. And where I live, on either side of me, they're the ones, rich. They're both rich guys. They're never there, And they tell, oh, don't worry, he's got two neighbors on either side. Well, I have a lot of other neighbors who are beyond Trump land, right? So, and the cops never come to our neck of the woods because we are poor and we're out in the middle of nowhere and we're white. So, we don't hit any of the demographics where they're going to bug us, right? Because we're too poor to even go somewhere to bother them. So, and we're far away. I'm, almost 30 miles from I'm right in the corner. I'm right in this corner where I could put a foot in 5 different counties and 3 different states, So I'm in the most squirreliest neck of the woods there is. So it's just, and that's why the weather does what it does, And that's why I went there. I kind of scoped this out. And there is this gigantic bar of granite copper that goes from Toronto to Florida. And the only place it really comes out of the ground is my backyard. And it's like a bar. It's like it's a bar, and the bar is 20 feet high and 20 feet thick. I was going to build my fancy schmancy rich man house on the back of that, and basically have and my whole deep green is basically a pyramid of energy. So I'm kind of protected from everything. That's what the weather, like I left on Monday, it was sunny like it is right now. But, I got 10 miles up and down those hills and it started snowing. And my sister just did not understand. Oh, I'm so upset. And she's the most bourgeois, suburban person who thinks she's affluent, but no one's affluent. Money is irrelevant. It's doesn't mean anything, and especially now when it's just X's and O's on somebody's tic-tac-toe board. So if one good book to read is the Bible, not because it's like anything really great. It's a Rubik's cube of God's unconditional love, right? And it was written by a bunch of monkeys with crayons, right? Jesus didn't write anything. It's all the guys who wrote it. The New Testament is only 5 guys. It's not even the other 13. And those 5 guys aren't even part of the 13. They were guys who came way after, hundreds of years later, right? It was the worst game of telephone you can imagine, right? But I do like the Bible. It starts out, my favorite book is Job, because what do you got? You got God and the devil sitting on the front porch drinking a martini. And God's going, oh, look at my boy Job. Isn't he so great? Oh, he's so blah, 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 blah. And the devil goes, yeah, sure. If you gave everybody all of that stuff, it's just like the check, If you gave everybody that money and that house and the kids and the wife and the farm and the cows and the this and he's the richest guy in town. Take some of that stuff away. And God says, okay. And so he does. I mean, he doesn't go, oh, I'm all knowing, all thinking, and I'm compassionate for all my creations. No, he's egocentric and wants to prove to the devil that Job is his boy, even if he has to kill him, which he almost does. And Job does not give up. The real character trait of this is the human nature of positivity. Job is not God. Job is not even Jesus. Job is just Job. And he doesn't believe in anything because everybody starts screaming at him. It's why everybody leaves him. Everyone's, castigates him. And he still has faith in love. And so that is really the great lesson of Job, is that you have to keep that love in your heart and don't believe in a word any doctrine or discipline or dogma tells you, and we have turned into wasps, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. We're not even Christian anymore. And the Protestant Reformation was, basically a business plan, just like the Holy Roman Empire's business plan of the Holy Roman Empire. A week or two before it was the Holy Roman Empire, it was the Roman Empire, which were all pagan dudes. Bacchus rules, and and so you look at our founding fathers, and who is the party boy but Ben Franklin, the smartest guy in the bunch, right? And pretty much why our revolution semi-succeeded, because France came in on our side, because he went to Paris and started a nightclub called the Hellfire Club, where all the rich, famous, kings and queens and dukes and smart people came. And guys went into the men's dressing room, women went into the women's dressing room. They all took off all of their clothes and put on masks so no one could tell who was who. And then they was solid debauchery. And that was Ben Franklin. Thank you very much, Ben. And that's why we kind of think again. We're back again. Anyway, so back in 1812, and him right up the Potomac and took out Washington. I mean, they didn't burn it down, but they went right up to the toe-to-toe to the old farts and said, hey, listen, guys, you are our bitches, and from now on, you do exactly what we say. And we're going to have this thing called the special relationship, meaning whatever we say is what you're going to do. When we say jump, you say how high. So, hey, homie. Okay. Well, I'm basically everything is so fugazi, it's unbelievable.
Everything is what?
Fugazi. You don't know that word?
Never heard of it, sir.
It's a military term meaning F.
Word?
Yes, and not just a sentence. It's basically things are screwed up beyond belief. That's fugazi.
Beyond repair?
No, belief.
Or beyond belief?
Yes.
In your case, man, I think you get your way out. You're like a cat with 100 eyes.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I see it worse in my lifetime in America.
Like everything's falling apart. Everything's right here, right now. And so that's what it is, man.
Well, you know what? What are they going to do? I am. I can't read the future, but I think, and from all my observations, the internet is going to go down in the next month or two. Before Easter, the internet is going to die.
Well, once they find that supercomputer which can make itself, which can repair itself, once they find abundance of energy, God will not be popular or needed anymore, sir.
And that's what we are all being told. And I'm now hearing this term, get ready for the reset. We need a reset. We have to reset. We have to reset this. And
what's that reset? What sense? I don't get it.
Reset is bye-bye whatever you think your freedom is. I mean, you don't even have it. And we never had it because we're not a democracy. We're a republic. What's a republic? It's the bottom line is it's white rich guys that control everything. That is what a republic is.
So you're telling me what I suspected, that freedom of speech and freedom to bear arms and freedom of assembly and democracy, this is only as good as the good old white boys can use it.
Not only that, it's an illusion. Because just because you got a handgun, the military has lasers from space that will incinerate you. It's like, good luck with the handgun. I mean, the only thing you can shoot with your handgun is yourself.
Wow. Get ready for reset.
Yes, exactly. Get ready for reset. Yep.
Oh, fuck, sir. I like that. So there's a new dog coming.
I knew. Same as the old. Do you remember the Who song? You know, don't get fooled again.
I know that song.
Right. You know, the same guy is the new guy. You know, the old guy is the new guy, and that term, same as it ever was. You know, that's where we're at. You know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'll be okay, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You'll be okay, man. Nothing bothered me.
Yeah. I'm not worrying about it.
So you were supposed to be going to your doctor one of these days. I forgot.
Yeah. Towards the end of the month.
To your doctor one of these days. I forgot.
Yeah. Towards the end of the month.
Oh,
and I will try and miraculously you got through. My phone has been totally whacked.
I didn't expect that.
Right, and it's a miracle, you know. And I tried. My sister called me up. She was like sending me anxious psychic waves. It's amazing about we are all like our parents. Now we have two of them, so it's a crapshoot of what you get, right? But
let me interrupt you before I forget. I'm kind of excited. I come to these dog eats. They're not a single dog. There's usually always there's about gazillion Canadian geese, and there's this fence. On top of that fence, there is this Indian goddess. I think Lakshmi. I think she's goddess of money or something. Man, that's a good day.
Yeah, it's a good day. It's a beautiful.
And the Powerball is $500 gazillion. I should play, huh?
Yeah, go buy your ticket. I bought mine yesterday.
You did?
Yep. And if I win, I'm giving you a chunk.
If I win, I will not be talking to you anymore. Oh my God. You know, I'm special with anybody, okay? No one might give you a chunk. You won't be paying for me anymore. Oh my God, I can't believe I fucking said that.
It's the reset. It's the reset. Huh? It's the reset. Blame it on the reset.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. Forget about it.
Yeah. You've already reset. Yep.
Yeah, that's that reset right there.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I'm a sick puppy,
Hey, watch your language. Hey, watch your language. Hey, watch your language. There are children listening. Oh
my God.
Yeah, watch your language. Yeah. So what's your observation? What's hanging in your world?
Well, I tell you what, I'm a little bit scared, man. I don't know what.
Your world.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a little bit scared, man. I don't know what.
What are you?
Washington D.C. This is a little uncertain times, and I don't think these fascist pigs, right wing.
They are nothing. This is like I Love Lucy. Everything is scripted. Meaning they let those guys in the door. I mean, on 9/11, they gave tanks and flamethrowers to the guys to protect the Capitol, and they just let them in.
You mentioned in one of your videos that Joe Biden was there, set up there by the powers that shouldn't be. I also think so. I'm glad he got that. For the guy, but you're absolutely right, sir.
Yeah. I mean, the guy doesn't even know what day it is. You know, what planet he's on, you know?
Yeah.
And I would say, he's going to have, if he can make it through without having anything go wrong in his body between now and next Wednesday, that's like a miracle.
But hey, listen. But let me ask you something.
Yeah, go.
I don't think he ran for the presidency for himself. I think he's setting up this bitch or something that's.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Mon. And look at what happened to Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, it's really sad. Him and Jack Kennedy were like two heads of, two sides of a coin, right? It's like the whatchamacallit, the Batman hero villain, Harvey Dent, Two-Face, he gets burned with acid. And, Kennedy comes super duper rich family, goes to Harvard. During World War II, they send him off to a safe place in the Pacific and ride around in a speedboat. and he's going after some trim, and he just happens to get run over by a Japanese destroyer that doesn't even see him. Both boats are running without lights, and that destroyer just run him over, right? So he breaks his back. He's messed up. And Joe, his older brother, is supposed to be the guy's president, but he gets blown up, right? So they go into politics, and Nixon, he comes from real poor family. He went to community college, but he's far more brilliant than Kennedy ever was. But he doesn't look too good. He looks like a bag of potatoes. Where Jack looks like a movie star, right? And so Nixon should have won hands down, but because they went on TV and Jack's friends were all Hollywood types, they send over the best makeup guy and Jack has a tan and he looks amazing. And Nixon is just sweating. He looks like a used car salesman. But all through their career, they both went to the military. Jack did nothing except get run over. And Nixon was out there getting shot at, right? And then he was a commander. And so when they came back, they went into Congress. Nixon did great as a congressman. And then he was a senator, and he got picked up by George Bush's father. Mr. Prescott Bush, right? And that was his mentor. And so it was like, Luke is, getting taken over by the emperor, and gets turned into Darth Vader. And that's what happened to Nixon. And the guy who passed, OSHA and the EPA and, NOAA and all these things environmentally and are good for us was Nixon.
I heard that he was actually not a bad president.
Oh, he was one of the best. And then he got set up. So the oil embargo happens. And basically what goes down is Mr. Rothschild says, okay, buddy, no longer is the American dollar going to be the petrodollar. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, you got nothing. So that's where all the gold in Fort Knox went to, Mr. Rothschild, right? And then to amortize to keep the dollar, the petrodollar, he basically sold everything in America. Like you go to a state and it says, or you're driving around and you see incorporated village of such and such, incorporated village incorporated city, like Chicago is an incorporated city. And the state of Illinois is incorporated. They all have stock. Things are falling apart because the stockholders of the state of Illinois don't want to pay the police or the teachers or the firemen any more than they have to. And in fact, they're going to like around me, they have taken everything, or the teachers or the firemen any more than they have to. And in fact, they're going to like around me, they have taken everything away. So we don't have a fire department. We barely have a police department. We barely have anything. And, they used to plow the roads. They don't do that anymore. So that's what's happening to us. So we've been sold down the river. And that's why they got rid of Nixon, because they were scared. They were pushing him so hard to do this, they thought he would stand up. And they didn't want to shoot another president so soon after shooting Jack. And Jack was about to stand up because he was a rich guy. Plus, he was really sick, like me. I'm really sick. People look at me, you're not sick. Well, I'm walking around and alive because of my intent and my will. I got really sick because I was a heathen slob working for the corporate desperate lawyers, and now I'm not. And my sister, why are you living out there? Why aren't you living in the suburbs? No, it's beautiful where I'm at. There's nobody around. Why are you all so nervous, if I don't call you every other day, So that's where we're at. We're at this, reset. We're at the reset,
Reset. Yeah, so this is the new byword, reset. Huh?
Reset, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, man. All right.
So tell me about your last trip. Where'd you go last time?
Last time I went to Florida, I think I told you.
Well, you know what? We really haven't talked because my phone has been so cracked up and it's been snowing. And whenever there's like a snow shower, that's when the roads turn into black ice around here. If it's a big snow, we have 5-10 inches. My car can get through that, no problem. But just a little bit of light snow and then it's real cold and then it melts and then it's cold again. And that's black ice. So I haven't been out really since New Year's.
Yeah. Well, I went to Florida, but I'm going to Africa in a month or so.
Oh, back to Africa. So tell me what you really liked. What floated your boat your last African trip?
Well, what I like is that I told you before, people are real, man. I mean, I like people who are not plastic, who are not artificial, superficial.
Right.
And those people, they might be, they're in a situation where they have to be a little corrupt and they beg for money and all that stuff, and they may not be honest, but they are for real.
Yeah.
I mean, if they ask for money, they're real. I mean, they're honest about that.
Right.
I need some few bucks or this and that. So the thing about me is that I like people who mean what they say and they do what they say.
Yeah.
So I like Africa for that reason. Okay. And they don't take life too seriously. They know they're in deep shit, so let's make the best out of it.
Right.
So it's good.
Right. So would you move there? Would you leave America and go there?
Would I leave?
Yeah.
Is this a trick question, sir?
No. I mean, I guess you don't have to change anything. You could go there and stay 6 months and it would be like living there.
No, would I leave America?
Yeah.
I don't know if for Africa, but I would leave America for maybe some Caribbean. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
In fact, many Irelands, they are selling their passports if you invest $150,000 to $200,000 or so. Invest in the real estate, this and that, and you can get a passport.
Right.
But I can't. I can passport.
Right.
But I can't.
Yeah, you and I aren't. Yeah, we're not in that ballpark. No, we're not. So what your homeland? What is going on in your homeland?
My homeland? Oh my! It's like wrapped up in a riddle. It's so fucking convoluted.
Yep.
We have 3 different nationalities and nations, different religions, and nationalities, all that stuff, and they just can't get along, man. I mean, way of saying, well, if economic situation improves, this and that, no. I'm afraid. I hope I'm wrong, but they just. I hope I'm wrong, but they just can't get along, man.
Right.
Here we have Serbs. Serbs are a little bit. They're nice people and they're pretty bright people, but they as victims and they're a little bit paranoid people.
Yeah.
And they will not get along, but they're afraid of anybody because, according to their philosophy, the world hates us.
Right.
It's similar to Jews. Okay.
I mean, that is the biggest problem. I mean, look what happened to Germany during the 30s. They're the Weimar Republic, the best, most organized, democracy and free state in Europe. And within 3 years, they had Adolf Hitler. He was voted in. Yes, he had the brown shirts to beat people up, but this is very similar to what we're looking at here. And it could never happen in America. Well, like I said, Germany had the best, and they were the most disciplined, and had the best schools and scientists, and they got Adolf Hitler. And that's
okay, I will with you, but where did it go wrong, man? Why did this guy, because of God himself, why did he decide to fucking kill everybody around?
Hey, watch the some children are listening, so you gotta use just a frack, use the word frack. Why? Because he was put there. just like every president we've ever had, they've all been placed there. Meaning we didn't. I mean, what we had a choice between Hillary Clinton and Carrot Head. You know, come on, you know. And you know, I grew up in New York City, and Carrot Head was always, oh, they're after me, and they hate me, blah 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 blah, and that is the sure sign of someone who's going to do some real harm. And so that's what Adolf said to the German people. They hate us because we're better than they are. You know, look what happened. We were winning World War I, and look what happened. You know, and so that's, you know, he just for a good 4 years leaned on the whining of they hate us. You know, and so he got their people to go after them. And then what did he do? You know, after he steered their whole country into not a ditch, but off a cliff, he left them out to dry. And that's what, and so they had to go through their own version of a reset, you know? And the only way you can get over this is if you are the first person. And you go, what are you talking about? I can't draw a straight line. No, what are you an artist at? Being you. Why do you think your wife still loves you and doesn't divorce you? Because you are this. She knows she's not going to find another one of you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we all have to be. But everyone's so, like my sisters, you know, and my brothers, they're scared out of their minds not to be what my dad, you know, tried to be. And my dad was just a sorry version of a poster boy, you know.
You know, I was thinking, I was going to call you and ask about that. You told me one time that this guy could not please your mother. He would buy bigger and bigger gifts, and he was bigger and bigger.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
But my mom, she was like a triple Capricorn, so she ruled the world. And she had all these rich guys at her feet during the 30s, but she knew them being rich, all she would get a check was afterwards. She wanted to have a horse she could ride. And that was my dad.
But not in that sense, huh?
No. I mean, of course, in that sense, they had like 8 kids, so...
okay, daddy worked too. Huh?
But that's only because they were both Catholic, and that's what you do when you're Catholic, right?
Oh, I see.
And then, you know, only 4 survived. Because, you know, my parents were not that. I mean, most of my life, they didn't even know I existed.
Say again?
Most of my life, they did not know I existed.
Your siblings?
My parents.
Oh, your parents?
Yes.
So you were just like a piece of furniture?
Yes. Well, I was never there. I was brought up by my grandma, and then I was, you know, nearly murdered by a Catholic nun in 1st grade. So I was sent off to be, you know, to convalesce with the Marinols, and that's the guys who really taught me to be scholarly, not scholastically, not to take a test, but to ask a question. And so and then I came back at 7, and they basically, I remember at 7 I showed up, and my dad looked at me and he said, "Who are you? You don't belong here." He said that when I was 7, and most kids would, you know, end up as, you know, be really, and me, because I had all of these amazing people, my grandma, all these other great mentors who loved me, instead of going, well, mommy and daddy don't love me, I said, well, you know, I feel sorry for these people, because I still had those, you know, so from 7 until I was sent away, I was, you know, with my grandma, or any, you know, when we lived in New York, when I was young, we did that. Then they moved out to Long Island, and they, you know, my dad had to prove he was really rich guy, so he bought a crappy house in the middle of potato fields surrounded by rich people. And so, again, And the public school that was there was really a pretty amazing thing. I had some amazing friends. So for those 7 years, and however you are when you go freshman in high school, my third to sixth grade and seventh and eighth in middle school, I had amazing friends, great teachers, and never really saw my parents, except once in a while, my dad could be adventurous and fun. And my mom, she had a few martinis into her, was Miss Party Girl. And my mom was brilliant. And so I was always writing stuff. My mom was even when I couldn't read my own handwriting, my mother could read it. And she kept buying me composition books. That's why I got a ton of them. And I would write stuff. And we would read together. And we would read these really funny or strange books together, and she would be amused. So I was the only, and I realized very early on that my mother loved cut flowers. So I would always bring, I'd be walking home from the bus, and Smith's garden was, I'd go pick, I had a little pair of scissors in my pocket, and I'd snip off some flowers to bring to my mom virtually every day. And I did that from the time I was 10 until she died, when, I was 58, for, almost 40 something years. And I took care of my parents for not my brothers and sisters who all worked for my parents. Me, I basically didn't, I did my own thing. But when I came back from Australia, my dad, he had to take care of us because he had this big war with my brothers and sisters, and they threw him out. And he made my brothers and sisters pay him millions of dollars for the business. And he said, okay, I'm just going to close it and shut the door and end the business, and you won't have a job. But we're partners. Well, look, you didn't read the fine print. It's like the people who sign on to digital platforms, nobody reads the 20,000 pages, right?
Yeah.
And that was my dad. And basically he said they didn't own squat. It was just my mom and him. So, they negotiated, and they had to pay him for it. Even though they spent 40 years working for him and making, they put more value in that business than he did. But he started it, and he had the name, and he had the contract. So, that's why. And now my brothers and sisters, don't even remember anything that happened before they were 18.
So what business was your father in?
He was in the U.S. Air Force Strategic Air Command, ready to incinerate the world.
Oh, that doesn't sound sexy to me.
But for those years that he did that, he was a colonel, so he had a lot of perks, and my mom liked those. But at a certain point, he was never going to be, a general and then end up in Boeing making millions. So when he was about 40 something, and he had his 20-something years in the Air Force, she said, okay, you're never going to be a general. You need to quit and start a business. So he became a salesman. He was very good at that. And then he started he sold paper, everything paper you can imagine. And then I used to go with him in New York. I'd get on the train with him, and he would sell everything, cleaning solutions, paper bags, you name it. And then the guy was his boss said, I'm going to start a business, and you're my best salesman. So why don't you come and be part of my business, and you can be. And so they did. And that's when my father learned about partnership, because at a certain point, that guy sold it, and my dad was just an employee. But he was a well-paid employee, right? So he made a lot of money doing that. So he took that and started his own business doing the same thing. And he focused on cosmetic paper goods. So that's in a thumbnail, their history. My dad, because he liked the Air Force, because we went all over the world. He was stationed in 28 different places. And that was one thing my mom got sick of, moving around. But so anyway, that's their story. And I had nothing to do with it, or very little to do with it.
So you said the first time you came.
What?
But so after that, you were gone for how long? Until next time they,
Until they needed me. I was missing. I had nothing to do with it. Maybe see my mom on her birthday, and maybe go home for Christmas. That was about it, and that lasted for almost 30 years.
Oh my, that's a human life.
Right. But I had a great time. I had a good time. I didn't worry about them. I didn't expect anything from them, and I didn't need them for anything. Where my brothers and sisters needed literally just to survive. And my bro goes, "Oh, he's just like Donald Trump. I'm a self-made man." Oh, give me a break. Because he had many opportunities before my dad said, "Hey, you got to be." He was in the military too. He's pretty good at that. He was living in Europe. He was going to stay there, and he had a little nightclub in Germany. And this French guy who owned a whole bunch of hotels, he didn't have a son, and wanted him to run his hotels. Now that was a gamble, but that would have been something interesting.
So do you keep in touch with your siblings?
Oh yeah, I'm the only one who does. They all hate each other, and that's why my sister got so bent out of shape on Monday. Is that I hadn't really talked to her until a little bit before Christmas, because we had all these snowstorms and I couldn't get out, and I've told, and they came looking for me.
Oh yeah. So at least she showed some concern, but
yeah, only because I owed her $10. $10. She, and because she couldn't brown me, tell you owe me 10, because that's what because I was getting through the vibes that she was all upset, and I thought maybe somebody was sick in the family, had COVID, no, she wanted to brown me for $10.
Oh my God! Well, that's almost as bad as me not paying you if I win that money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Well, buddy, I gotta go. I'm in my car, and I don't want to mess my pants. I have to visit the little boy's room. Okay. I love you, and I'll speak to you soon. When's your next trip?
Next trip is on the 26th. I'm going to Florida for about 10 days.
Oh.
I'll talk to you before then.
Yeah, before then. Yeah. Hopefully my phone stays alive. Okay. So that's my good bud. And if you didn't construe where he came from, that's how many listens? 4 of you. Who's this red dot? Hello. Total something or other. Anyway, how long have I been on? 42 minutes. There's 5 of you. So, what do you kids think about? So that was a nice little story of my life, and a thumbnail. So go to xratted.blogspot.com and go read my novels and short stories and essays about what's going on. If you want to talk to me, the real way is the dudeawake42@gmail. I have more access there than almost anywhere, because my phone doesn't really work, and I get on the Gmail on my laptop. But I'm not immediately, connectable. So anyway, I'm gonna go, and I'll try and talk to you. We're supposed to have a bunch of snowstorms in the next 2 weeks, so I don't know when next, but soon. I always love you. Remember that. And love yourself and love your neighbor, okay, as yourself, okay?